What's up, everybody? It's Outlaw John Rocha here with my just out of the theater reaction and review for Karate Kid Legends. So here's what I'll tell you. I'm a massive Karate Kid fan. I really enjoyed seeing the movies through the years. Yeah, you know, been some installments not as strong as other installments. But there, I think it's a great story about, you know, getting up when you get knocked down, about finding the strength within yourself to go on and fight and have your own voice in the world. So I've always enjoyed the franchise. I've watched almost every one of the Cobra Kai seasons, still got to catch up on the last one. So I've been pretty even got YouTube Red at the beginning so I could have access to Cobra Kai and watch it. That's how far back I go with that section of the Karate Kid franchise. So I was very excited to see this movie, and you know, I was like, okay, you bring back you bring back LaRusso, you're bringing in Jackie Chan from, of course, the other version of Karate Kid. So I was like, this is going to be a great combination, and we're going to get this new actor coming in, Ben Wang. But in the end, the film is kind of disappointing. I mean, there are some nice moments of connection between the characters and the actors and the things they're going through and what have you, but it really is confounding some of the story decisions in this movie that I just don't seem to understand why you would do it, especially the Joshua Jackson character. Like, there's a weird subplot with him trying to learn how to box again because he wants to save his pizzeria or whatever. And of course, Ben Wang's character Lee is going to start a relationship with having a flirty relationship with his daughter and whatever. And where does that all lead? And then you get introduced to who's going to be his opponent, and of course it's very similar to Karate Kid in that she's connected to him, or a former girlfriend of his. So you see some of the familiar beats. The problem is the film doesn't develop these characters and develop these situations as strongly as it needs to, so that you can feel the effect later on in the movie. Even when we get to the final fight, there isn't that kind of oomph and excitement that you want to see from a final fight, and I think the film just kind of falls apart in that approach to it, which is unfortunately disappointing for me as a big fan of the Karate Kid stuff. I think Ben Wang is fantastic in the movie, though, and he deserves a better film to be a part of. He brings a lot of charm, joy, fun, got a great smile, and when he's dealing with situations as they arise in the movie, especially his own personal journey of having to get over something that he experienced, I don't want to ruin what that is, and come to terms with it, I think he does a really great job with that. And the chemistry he has with Sage Dana, I think, is really good as well. I buy them as a couple. They just get together too quickly. That's the problem with the movie. Everything happens too quickly. They jump from one story beat to the next, to the next, to the next. They don't flesh it out. Even Ming Na Wen, who I think is great in the film, they present this conflict between them, but then they barely come back to it. They barely flesh it out. They barely do enough with it to get you to be fully hooked into what they're doing. And then you bring in the idea of Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan's in the movie at the beginning, and you understand they have a strong relationship and the bond they have, but there's not much of that explored until much later in the movie. It's the same thing with Daniel LaRusso. Daniel LaRusso's brought into the movie, but there's not enough time with him. So it becomes a bit of a letdown as the film goes along. Look, there are some fine performances. Everybody does a good job, except for maybe the main bad kid. I thought he was pretty terrible in the movie. No offense to him, he works a lot, so I'm not trying to make a judgment on him as an actor. It's probably more the director's fault, Jonathan Entwistle, just not getting the best out of some of these moments. But I think overall the acting is good, and when they are allowed to actually dial into the emotion between the characters, the actors really bring it, and you buy those scenes, you buy those emotions. But in the end, these things don't really flesh out, or don't really lead too much. I mean, Joshua Jackson is damn good in the movie. I really enjoy him, and he's sympathetic, and I like his connection with Lee and their chemistry. But again, the way that all comes about, you're like, well, why is he training him to it just doesn't make any sense. You're asking the audience to think about too many storylines at once instead of focusing on the main storyline to get to where we're going. It doesn't mean you can't have these subplots. You got to flesh out the subplots if you're going to have these subplots, because they're supposed to feed into the main story a bit more strongly, and they don't here, unfortunately. That being said, though, there are some really nice moments, as I said, with these characters and with these actors. So if you're going in to see it on a Saturday afternoon, it's an hour and a half. It's a breezy hour and a half of a movie, and there are some elements of it that I think might appeal to younger audiences. So if you're going to bring your kids, I think your kids are going to get a lot out of it, because they're not going to go into this movie going like, well, what's the subplot and what's the character and have they developed the character? No, they're just going to be like, do I like this kid? I want to cheer for this kid. You give this kid obstacles. He's got to overcome those obstacles. He's got to get the girl, and he's got to fight the main bad kid who has been bullying him at times throughout the movie. And even that relationship's not really fleshed out as strongly as it needs to be, so you can feel that ending a bit more strongly in the film. So by the time it's over, even the final fight doesn't have that kind of oomph that the first Karate Kid had, or some of the moments in Cobra Kai have had. in the past. So it is a bit of a letdown when you get to the final fight, unfortunately. But as I said, that being said, there are some really good actors in this, and Jackie Chan's humor is all over this thing. So when he appears, it's fun. When him and LaRusso they have great chemistry. So when they appear, those scenes are really fun between them. But unfortunately, it's not enough, and the film isn't fleshed out enough for you to get the full effect of that movie and absolutely be cheering for it by the end. Unless you're a younger person. I had some people clapping at the end of my screening, and they were like 10, 12 years old. So maybe it was made for people, for young kids like that who enjoy it because they want to develop a whole new strain for this franchise. We'll see. But if you get a chance to see it, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section. Did it work for you? Did it not work for you? Am I being too harsh on it? Let me know what you thought about Ben Wang and everybody else in the movie, all the actors, and what stood out to you, or what didn't work for you, how you would have fixed it, because I always like hearing you guys' opinions of what works and what doesn't work in these movies. So let me know down in the comments section below. Subscribe to the channel, hit a like on this video, and I'll talk to you next time with another brand new out-of-theater reaction/review here on the Outlaw Nation.
Thanks so much for watching this video. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content from the Outlaw Nation.